Okay, welcome in. We'll be getting started with our presentation in about 10 minutes. If you haven't already, go ahead and log in to your YouTube account so that you can use the chat function. We'll be using the chat function throughout today's presentation. We'll see you in a few minutes. All right, again, welcome in. We'll be getting started here in a few minutes. Just a reminder, if you haven't already, log into your YouTube accounts that you can use the chat box. We'll be using that throughout today's show. See you in a few minutes.
Hey TSP Nashville, welcome to this year's All Engineers Award Banquet. I'm your president, Matt Bullard, and we got a great presentation for you this evening. We have Kasey Anderson, who's going to be our keynote speaker this year, and she has a great legislative update for you to let you know what's been happening on the Hill so far this year. We also have a few other items of business before we get started. As you know, we're obviously virtual now because of COVID, and we have not been able to have our lunch meetings. So, in order to make sure we meet everybody's PDH needs, we're going to try to do a couple of those virtual over the summer. Typically, we take that time off as a board, but this year we decided we're going to go ahead and try to schedule a few lunch meetings over the summer to allow our membership to have opportunities to get PDHs. So be on the lookout for some email correspondence in the near future regarding that. We're going to keep this presentation to under an hour this year. We have some great sponsors this year that have enabled us to get a professional marketing team, which I promise you they did a lot better job than we would have as a board by ourselves. And so this is going to be a great presentation this year, and I hope you stick around for the entire hour. And just to incentivize you to do that, we have 5 $100 gift cards that we're going to be giving away in a raffle in between each one of our presentations. So first up, we have Kasey Anderson with a legislative update, and without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Kasey. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Okay, Matt mentioned the raffle, so before we get to Kasey, let's give away our first one. My name is Ben Coles, and I'm the TSPE President-elect. I'm going to be your MC for the day. First, again, we just want to say a thank you to all of our sponsors. We want to thank our raffle sponsor for today, Wiser Consultants. So if you haven't already noticed, our first raffle for today is going to be a $100 gift card to Home Depot. We're going to be using the comments section on the right of your screen and a random number generator to select the winner. So if you haven't already, go ahead and log into your YouTube account. If you have any kind of a Google account or Google Docs or Gmail, anything else that Google owns, you can use those credentials to log in. You'll be able to make comments in the chat. So in the comments, we're looking for the name of the gift card followed by your first and last name. So for example, if I were submitting for this card, I would comment Home Depot, Ben Coles. Then the random number generator will select which comment is the winner. So go ahead and start entering those comments now. And remember, we're looking for the name of the gift card plus your first and last name. All right, just a few more seconds. Get those comments in. All right, stay tuned to the end of our presentation and we'll announce all the raffle winners. Now we're going to turn it over to our keynote speaker, Kasey Anderson.
Good afternoon. I'm excited to be here today at what is hopefully one of the very last of these virtual award shows. It's been a really tough 15 months on everyone. And I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking I sure can't wait to get back to face-to-face meetings and see all of you in person. Today, I'm just going to share a couple of really high-level overviews of what happened during the first half of the 112th Tennessee General Assembly. They adjourned on May the 5th, and it was a long 5 months. So a lot happened. Today will be a really quick overview. Really strange year. It was a tough year in a lot of ways. One of the toughest I've had in my 19 years as a lobbyist. But I will say we had a really successful session. All told, between the House and the Senate, they filed about 1,700 different bills, close to 1,700. And then there were a little over 1,600 joint resolutions that were filed on top of that. We had a lot of new faces and personalities to get to know. About 10% of the legislators turned over this year. So there were a lot of new people, really great folks who were down there to serve. It was fun getting to know them. Speaker Sexton, Speaker of the House, he really completely overhauled all of the committees, both in the structure and who is on those committees, and also the rules that those committees were following. Lots of changes there that took a little getting used to. And then we certainly had a lot of COVID restrictions, particularly at the beginning of session, that forced us really all to reinvent how we communicate with legislators and take a good look at how we do our jobs effectively. As most of you know, I'm the lobbyist for both TSPE and ACEC, and I'm the only lobbyist advocating for engineers on the Hill. ACEC and TSPE have a joint legislative committee. On the TSPE side, it's chaired by Dave Brewer, and they stay really active throughout the legislative session. I am eternally grateful for their commitment. These folks are there with me for, gosh, hours and hours of meetings. We read every bill that comes through, every bill as it's filed, and then have a meeting every single Friday to go through bills. And I can't do my job without them. So I'm really incredibly grateful for their support and their commitment to this process. So we had a big year. This year we were active in 71 different bills. Like by active, I mean, we really got in and worked them pretty hard. And then we had another 273 bills that we just watched, that were caption bills or just bills we needed to know the outcome of, that kind of thing. So really in general, like the high level rundown of this session as it pertains to us. The budget is really the only thing that the General Assembly is statutorily required to do every year. So the way that it works is this: in about early February, the governor will do a state of the state, and he will propose his budget package for the year and sort of his high level of what his priorities are, et cetera. And then they all hash it out, and bills go through, and some are with him and some are not. And there's some behind the scenes stuff that happens. And then pretty late in session, the governor will present a formal budget amendment to the General Assembly for them to consider. The House and the Senate, particularly the finance committees, then take that and they hash through it. There were, for example, the Senate Finance Committee this year called Butch Ely in and asked about 30 questions about what specifically is this organization that you're giving this money to? Some very specific questions, line item by line item in that budget. So then the Senate and the House work together and they hash it around for a while, and they come up with their own budget amendment, which is the amendment that ends up becoming the budget for the year. So the final budget that got passed this year was $42.6 billion. That is the largest budget in the history of Tennessee. Just to give you some perspective, last year's budget was 39 billion. So we've gone from 39 to 42.6 billion. So it's a big budget we're dealing with this year. Some highlights just that you all might be interested in. There's $931 million in there for capital projects, deferred maintenance on state buildings. There's $100 million in there for local infrastructure grants, $100 million to expand broadband to underserved areas, $3 million of recurring money, and an additional $10 million of non-recurring money to airports. And when you get to the legislative report that I send, will explain they've made some changes to the aviation fuel tax caps. And so they've decided they've committed to keeping airports whole in all of that. And then there's also $5 million for historic preservation projects. So I'm working right now on a comprehensive report on everything that we did, covering specific legislation that we worked through, all of that stuff. So look for that to come soon. And then I'm going to be scheduling a couple of different opportunities to come and listen. I'll do a full legislative update, maybe in a town hall style meeting if we can't be in person. But I'll give you several opportunities to come. I really would encourage you to do that. And that way you can really dig down into some of what went on this year and look at specific legislation and ask questions and that kind of thing. So I really hope you'll attend those. But on the highest level, we had a really good year. We helped pass some really good bills. We amended a few bad bills to make them helpful and things we could live with, and happy with a lot of those results. And then we were able to kill a lot of really bad legislation, just stuff that we thought was just a terrible idea. So overall, it was, for transportation, for example, pretty light load this year. We had a couple of bills that we were able to kill that would have affected your ability to design, roads and roadways with the safety of people in mind, and making sure that engineers were still sort of in control of things like traffic signals and how shoulders work on the side of the road at a turnstile and that kind of stuff. But transportation was fairly light. Environmental, there were tons of environmental bills this year, a lot. That agriculture and environmental committee became really important to us this year. We had stuff across the board in environment. We had water, stormwater, solid waste, air. It ran the gamut, lots and lots of bills. There were also a bunch of business bills that we were pretty heavily involved in that affect the firms for which many of you work. There was tons and tons of legislation related to COVID. We saw there were bills about essential workers and who's declared an essential worker and who gets to make that declaration, and the powers of the governor in the crisis, and the powers of county health boards and those kind of things. And then hours and hours and hours of conversation about vaccines and whether vaccines should be allowed to be prohibited, or whether they were necessary. Just the vaccine conversation was seemingly endless. We also worked on a bunch of bills that dealt with local governments and contracts and utilities and construction and eminent domain and regulatory boards. So a whole bunch, and we were across the board into everything this year. And then of course we had some licensure issues, as we always do. So I'll get on my soapbox real quick and say this. When it comes to licensure, TSPE membership matters. Like it or not, there are people coming for your license. Oftentimes, we're not the target. Oftentimes, we're just thrown in with everybody else in Title 62, occupations, professions, the rest. But there are some examples where we are the target, and we saw one this year. So take, for example, the Innovation Fast Track Act. It would have been the very first of its kind in the nation to put a regulatory sandbox in place outside of fintech and insurance, right? So a regulatory sandbox that would have been in place where one person, in this case, it would have been the Commissioner of Commerce and Insurance. So one person would have had the ability to waive all laws and rules and licenses for someone or something, or some product or some innovation that he deemed to be innovative and not necessary, where the red tape of regulation and laws and rules would have been prohibitive. So in this case, 100%, I'll tell you, we were the target. There absolutely were examples that they were using of, this is something that we would probably do with that bill. So I will tell you, that bill took a lot of political capital to kill, a lot. And thank you to all of you. We did a lot of very targeted individual communication with members on that bill, and it was really important, and it definitely made a difference. But that's just one example. The licensure piece is not going away anytime soon. Licensure for professional engineers, it's rigorous for a reason. TSPE works hard every single day to defend it and to defend your ability to continue to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. So I want to really say thank you to those of you who are TSPE members. And for those of you who aren't, we really need you. It's time. This is too important to just let it go, because they will sweep in and they will take it from you. And this is everything that y'all have worked so hard for. And if you're not out there protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the public, we certainly can't assume that others will do the same. So I'll get down off my soapbox and just encourage you to stay engaged. Come to those legislative updates. They'll likely still be on Zoom, so hopefully it'll be easy for you to get there. And then next year, hopefully we'll have Day on the Hill back. All days on the Hill were prohibited this year because of COVID. So next year, hopefully that will be back. Engineers Day on the Hill is always a really great opportunity to meet with legislators and talk to them about what you do and why it's important, and then advocate for specific pieces of legislation that they'll be seeing. So I encourage you to attend that. And I think we're going to go live in just a minute, and if any of you have questions. But before we do, in closing, I really just want to say thank you. It is really a privilege and an honor to represent you all, to represent the profession, the professional engineering profession. Is just, I'm grateful for each of you for allowing me to do so, and really hope to see you all live soon. We will be live and in person at the Tennessee Engineers Conference, September 13th and 14th at the Cool Springs Marriott. Hope you will come back for that. I think it's going to be great. And while the team behind the scenes moves us to live version, I'm going to close out real quick with a video from Governor Lee. Last month, the AE board celebrated its 100th anniversary, and Governor Lee sent a special commemorative message, and it's pretty great. Coming from one engineer to another. So I hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you live in just a minute. Thanks so much, everybody.
Hey everybody, Governor Bill Lee here. Today we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Tennessee State Board of Examiners for Architects and Engineers. Since the board was founded in Nashville in 1921, the board has carried out their mission to safeguard life, health, and property. As a licensed mechanical engineer by the State Board of Examiners, I know firsthand how the programs and services that they've developed set the standards of practice for professionals across our state. We appreciate your contribution to Tennesseans and congratulate you on 100 years of service.
Well, it's great to be with everybody today. I can see from the chat that you're all so curious and so engaged in what I have to say that we have no questions. I guess we'll just sit for a minute, and if y'all have a few questions, if you'd like me to talk about Home Depot or whatever else, that's all I see in the chat box so far. So if you have any questions, pipe up. Craig Parker with a question. If Craig asked if one of our members wants to participate on the LGA committee, how would he or she go about it? Great question, Craig. Appreciate that very much. So as I talked about a few minutes ago, the way our legislative committee works is it's a joint committee. It really functions well the beginning of January. And I'll tell you the reason that I think it functions so well is we've got a really good mix of consulting engineers on there and public sector employees. So we've got some people we need people from every sector, water, sewer, all of the environmental pieces. And then we've got a lot of transportation folks, and a lot of people with different ideas. And when we bat bills around, it's nice because we do get that input from everyone and how things might affect a municipality versus how they might affect a firm and that kind of stuff. So the committee's open. It's a lot easier to know who wants to be at the committee because we don't just invite the world every week, because that would be overwhelming and y'all would stop opening my emails entirely. So if you're interested in being a part of that or just trying it, dipping your toe in the water, just let me know. I think most of you know how to get a hold of me. My email address is kanderson@tnec.org. But you're always welcome. And it's, again, an open committee. And even if you're not sure if you're going to like it, you can try it. And you certainly don't, if you call me and say, that's really not for me, I would never, I would never hold you to it. Hold your feet to the fire. So it's kind of a come and go as you please. And I keep a list of, people who are interested in certain subject matter, who want to be involved in certain bills, but they don't want to be involved in the rest of it, and that's fine too. So it's a great opportunity to just give it a shot. So if you're interested in that, just let me know. Craig, thanks for the question. Mike Hunkler, yeah. So Mike Hunkler said, I didn't know the governor was a PE. So Bill Lee went to Auburn, has an engineering degree from Auburn. I don't know when he got his PE because I haven't done that kind of research. But the way he is currently listed in the
in the system, in the license registration system, is as a PE, but as a currently inactive PE. He went inactive when he became governor. So he is currently licensed by the state. He is an inactive PE for his term as governor because he's not practicing. And I don't know that he has time to go grab PDHs at a conference right now. So I think that's probably why. So that's where we are in that. Oh, Parker, any decoupling bills get passed this session? So no, here's the deal on the licensure bills that are coming. We've been talking about decoupling. And for those of you who don't know that term, we're talking about in the state of Tennessee, the way the law currently reads, to be a PE, you have to take the exam, to go to school, pass the FE degree, FE, 4 years of progressive experience, and then take the PE exam. Our law is set up that way. So if you're coming into Tennessee for your initial license, if you took the exam prior to your 4 years experience, you're not eligible for a license, the way the law reads right now. However, Kentucky now allows the exam to be taken at any time, as do like 26 other states. So you can come in and get a license. If your first license is in another state, you can come in as long as it's after those 4 years of experience. So we've been talking about it for a couple of years. We know if we don't do something about that law, that the legislators will do it for us. So we have been talking about, we need to be proactive about it. So the licensing board the AE board is working on 4 different areas that we think are somewhat barriers, or it makes it more difficult for some people to have a license for different things. Those are decoupling of the exam, international degrees, undergraduate degrees in engineering technology, and a master's in engineering without an undergrad in engineering. So all 4 of those areas the AE board has been meeting endlessly about, and they are going to have some proposed legislation that, and some of them will be done by rule change that will happen next year. That either will be a part of the governor's package legislative package next year, or we will bring it next year. So we'll see. But so decoupling is the same way that it always was. Master's same way as it always was, but actively seeking a change to that next year. And Ashley Smith would like to apply for the Home Depot card. If I don't see any other questions, I hope that helped. I hope that answered your question, Craig. And we'll talk a lot more about all of that at the, particularly the licensing stuff, opportunity to talk more about it at the Tennessee Engineers Conference in September. The registration for that is open. You can go to tnec.org, and that is the Engineers Conference registration site, so you can get more information. Hope you'll join us. It will be really nice to all be together in person. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. I appreciate y'all so much. And you know how to find me, and feel free to call anytime if you've got questions, etc. I'm going to turn it back over to Ben Coles. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Thank you, Kasey, for the great update, and thank you for everything you do for us on the Hill. All right, we're ready to give away our second raffle. And again, we just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, specifically our raffle sponsor, Wiser Consultants. As you can see, our second raffle, we're going to be giving away a $100 Visa gift card. So go ahead, start entering those comments. Remember, we're looking for the name of the gift card plus your first and last name. So I would put Visa Ben Coles. Go ahead and start entering those comments. All right, we're going to give it just a few more seconds. Get those comments in. All right, good deal. Stay tuned to the end of all the presentations when we'll announce all the raffle winners. Now I'm going to turn it back over to our chapter president, Matt Bullard, to present our first award for Government Engineer of the Year. And again, we just want to say thank you to all of our award sponsors today, specifically our award sponsor, Ross Bryant and Associates.
All right, up next we have the Government Engineer of the Year Awards presentation. This person is no stranger to TSPE. Matter of fact, this person used to be the TSPE president, like myself. This person is also a past recipient of TSPE's Young Engineer of the Year Award. It won't surprise many of you that this person has a Bachelor of Civil Engineering from Tennessee Technology University, where they graduated summa cum laude. But I bet many of you didn't know that this person also has a Bachelor of Arts in Physics and Mathematics from Transylvania University, where they graduated magna cum laude. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up where Transylvania University was, and I was very surprised that's just across the border in Kentucky and not Romania. So, another fun fact is that is the first university in the state of Kentucky. So you learn something every day. This person has a very diverse background. They've actually spent 14 years in the private sector of civil engineering and also 14 years in the public sector of civil engineering, where they work now. During the private sector run, this person worked at firms like Barge Design Solutions and InSafe. And on the public side, they've spent the majority of their career at Metro Water Services, where they rose in rank from Engineer 2 to Engineer 3, and most currently serving as the Interim Director of Public Works. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Shayna Whitelaw as our Government Engineer of the Year, who just so happens to have the matching piece to this old piece of pipe that we found together one time on a job site near Lipscomb University. So congratulations, Shayna, and hope you enjoy it.
Hi everybody. They said to keep it short and to have good lighting, so I think I don't have a problem keeping it short. Lighting is what it is. I have a few little notes here to keep me on track, and given the fact that I'm not a very good public speaker, I think this will be less painful for most of us if I go this way. Thank you so much for honoring me as this year's TSPE Nashville Chapter Government Engineer of the Year. I was surprised, honored, and a little bit shocked to be selected as this year's award recipient, so thank you very, very much to the committee. Having spent the first 14 years of my career in the private sector, which I love being in the private sector, by the way, but once I moved to Metro Water Services, did I realize that I'd found my engineering calling, and now temporarily at Public Works that has solidified it by having 2 different experiences in the government sector of Nashville. I've been fortunate to be a part of providing to our community. I love what I do, and I hope that my little contributions that I do every day make a difference to all the folks who live, work, and play in the Nashville area. I want to thank everyone who's helped me along the way. I've had great mentors in my early days. I have a wonderful engineering peer group that I've grown up in the business with. And nowadays I'm learning from the young folks, I'm learning from my age folks, and that's really what engineering's been for me, is a life of learning and problem solving and figuring out how can we do things better to help others. I especially want to thank my engineering family. You guys know who you are. I want to thank Water Services and Public Works co-workers who have always encouraged me to try new things and to be a part of the solution. And finally, I want to thank my husband, Alan. Alan's been there through thick and thin, and he's been my biggest champion. When I come home at the end of the day and say, hey, I've got a new opportunity to do something at Water, I've got a new opportunity to go to Public Works, he's always been there to say, go for it. So once again, thank you, Chapter. Thank you, TSPE. I really do appreciate this award. I am humbled. I am honored. Thank you.
Congratulations, Shanna. Okay, it's time to give away our 3rd raffle. And as you can see, we're going to be giving away a $100 gift card to Lowe's. So just like before, get started entering those comments. Don't forget, we're looking for the name of the gift card, plus your first and last name. All right, we'll give it just a few more seconds here as comments continue to trickle in. Okay, remember, we're using a random number generator to select which number comment will be the winner. And at the end of all the presentations today, we're going to announce we will announce all raffle winners. Now, let's get ready for the presentation of our Young Engineer of the Year.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to present this year's Young Engineer of the Year. This year's recipient actually began her career in Jordan, where she received a Bachelor's of Civil Engineering with an emphasis in water resources and environment from the Jordan University of Science and Technology in 2008. From there, she went on to work for Engicon Engineering Consultants, as well as the Arab Bureau of Consultants between 2008 and 2011. Upon moving to the States, she earned a Master's in Environmental Engineering from Tennessee State University in 2013. After earning her master's, she went on to work for the Tennessee Department of Transportation, where she quickly rose from a junior civil engineer to a transportation project supervisor in hydraulics from 2014 to 2018. Currently, she serves as the Water Resources Team Lead for Volkert, where her responsibilities include hydraulic analysis for bridges, culverts, and other lateral structures, storm sewer design on roadway projects, erosion prevention and sediment control plans, applying for water quality permits, and coordinating with all the relevant agencies, as well as being actively involved in training younger staff and developing their engineering skills. She's been a registered engineer in the state of Tennessee since 2015, as well as being registered in Texas since 2018 and Jordan since 2008. She became a certified professional in erosion and sediment control, as well as a certified floodplain manager in 2019. She has been a member of the Jordan Engineers Association since 2008 and is actively involved in the American Society of Highway Engineers Middle Tennessee chapter, where she is head of their public relations committee, helping to promote activities and connect student communities. During her college years in Jordan, she worked with underprivileged children, tutoring them in physics, chemistry, and English. Also, while in Jordan, she hosted multiple TV shows. One TV show for children to teach them about health and disease and the importance of dealing with it. Also, another TV show for children promoting science and discovery. She has also been a champion for diversity, including presenting to TDOT about women of the Middle East and the workforce. These are just a small sample of her accomplishments thus far in her young career and why she is deserving of being named this year's Young Engineer of the Year. So without further ado, it's my honor to present the 2021 Young Engineer of the Year, Lena Curry. Congratulations, Lena.
Hello everyone. I am very honored to be selected as TSPE Young Engineer of the Year. I have mixed feelings about accepting this award virtually. Part of me is missing our professional community getting together to celebrate this in person. The other part is actually thrilled that I get to share it with my family, friends, and mentors. I started my career overseas, and I owe so much to the engineers in Jordan. So I would like to thank my previous employer in Jordan, and I would also like to thank my previous employer here in Tennessee, TDOT, especially Kenny Elrod and Wesley Peck. You guys taught me so much, so thank you for that. I would also like to thank my current employer, Volkert, and our Tennessee team. I can name a few: Justin, Dennis, Crystal, Diane, Natalie, all of you guys. You've been huge supporters, so thank you for that. I don't believe in luck. I believe in hard work and true values, and pretty much every goal that I achieved in my career is a result of that. I also believe in diversity, And I'm not just talking about race. It's race, ethnic backgrounds, gender, age groups, and even government and private employees getting together to achieve phenomenal goals. Diversity forces everybody to think outside of the box. It brings different opinions and different values, and that's how we achieve creative goals. A quick word for the young engineers out there. We all have our moments when we feel vulnerable, scared, and weak, and we just want to quit. Please don't quit. These are the moments when you achieve your professional growth. And don't claim that you know more than you actually do, because we won't know what to teach you. And then if you hate a job and if you're miserable at your job, just leave. Change is good. Change is healthy. People ask me why I'm always happy. I like Mondays. I like going to work because I truly love what I do. I like stormwater, I like hydraulics, and I look forward for Mondays. And then I want to share something with all engineers. I heard this at a water resources conference a couple of years ago, and it was from a retired engineer. He said that engineers are viewed differently these days. Engineering is just a career path now. It's just a job. Previously, engineers were viewed as community servants. They were present, they were volunteers, and their opinions mattered. So I invite all of us to go back to what we used to be, because that's what we are meant to be. I left my personal thank yous till the end. To my family, I hope you guys are tuning in. My brother in Australia, my sister in England, my dad in Jordan, and my mom in heaven. I also want to thank my husband, Sam, who is also an engineer. He gets it, and he's my biggest fan. And I would also like to thank my son, Yunan, who thinks that I'm a plumber, and he wants to become a pipe engineer when he's 6 years old, like mommy. Thank you, everyone, and I am truly honored.
All right, good deal. Congratulations, Lena. It's now time to give away our fourth raffle. And again, we want to say thank you to our raffle sponsor, Wiser Consultants. We couldn't do this without your support, or any of our sponsors' support. So our fourth raffle will be giving away another $100 Visa gift card. So just like before, let's get started entering those comments. And remember, we're looking for the name of the gift card plus your first and last name. All right, keep going. Get those comments in. We'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, remember, stay tuned to the end of all the presentations and we'll announce the raffle winners. Now we're going to turn it back over to Matt to present our final award of the day for Engineer of the Year. One final thank you to our award sponsor, Ross Bryan and Associates.
Last but certainly not least, we have our most prestigious award, which is the Engineer of the Year. This year's recipient is a graduate of Vanderbilt University and a local Nashvilleian. When looking at all the accomplishments this person has achieved over their career, the thing that jumped out to me the most was this person has been with their engineering firm for over 40 years. They've spent almost their entire firm with their entire career with a single firm. It's very unusual these days, and I'd say not many recipients would be able to meet that feat. In the early 2000s, this person became a vice president in their firm and also a member of their board of directors. Over the last 10 years, they've achieved the rank of principal in their firm, and they currently serve as president of their firm. They are registered in 19 states, including the District of Columbia. This person practices as a structural engineer, and looking at their project sheet, I mean, they've worked all over the country on just numerous projects that everyone would recognize, many, sporting arenas, NFL, MLB stadiums, lots of large vertical structures, literally from coast to coast. And I would say outside of engineering, this person is extremely active in their church. On their nomination form, there is literally an entire page dedicated to just their church activities. Our limitation of time here, the most prestigious thing I saw on there was they have served 2 separate terms as president of the board of their church, and just been very active for decades in their church. And so that's obviously something very important to this person. Without revealing their gender, they have 2 children that are adult age, which is a great accomplishment. As a father, I can tell you that's probably one of the more difficult things to achieve on this list. But without further ado, I'd like to congratulate Elizabeth Surface as our Engineer of the Year this year. Congratulations, Elizabeth, and thank you for all you've done for our profession.
I am so honored by this award. I've recently retired, and this is icing on the cake of my almost 45-year engineering career. I know so many outstanding engineers in our area, and I am tremendously honored to be counted amongst them. I wish that we were together in person. So many of you have helped me along my way, and I would like to be able to thank you. In the 1970s, an engineering career was a dream for me. I had no idea at that time what a rewarding and engaging career it could be. I've had the good fortune to work on a wide array of projects, and every step along the way, my colleagues at Ross Bryan have helped me, both my mentors and my peers. When I came there were 3 principals who mentored me: Jim Smithy, Ed McDougall, and Henry Clark. They all had different styles, but from them I learned engineering processes, project management, leadership, business, and personal life lessons. As different as they were, the one thing that they all had in common was they cared about my professional and my personal future. That is mentoring at its best. My path to success was greatly influenced by these 3 mentors, but also by every colleague at Ross Bryan Associates. Founded in 1949, we work as a team to implement strategic planning initiatives and continuously improve the firm. I thank each of you for your trust, your vision, and your hard work. Leading that firm has been the job of a lifetime, my most important endeavor. Lastly, and most importantly, I want to thank my husband, Tom. With a successful career of his own, he has always partnered with me and been my biggest cheerleader. Together, in our household, we worked as partners in child rearing and everything else. And without him, I could not have done this. Our partnership has allowed us both to thrive. Thank you very much, Tom. Now, those of you who know me know that it would not be like me to let an opportunity to speak about diversity in our profession go unused. Racial and gender diversity are issues. Structural engineering may lag a little behind other disciplines. It was 30 years into my career before I worked with another female engineer. So I ask of each of you, Talk to the young people you know in these areas. Seek them out. Tell them what a rewarding career engineering can be. Tell them that it is something they can attain. Support our local STEM and pre-engineering initiatives. With these efforts, we can help build diverse leadership for the future of our profession. I was fortunate to grow up in a family where both my mother and father told me I could be anything I wanted to be. Our profession, our work is inspiring, it is engaging, and it is rewarding. So spread the word wide. Thank you again for this award. I'm looking forward to next year when we will all be together, and I will see you there.
Congratulations, Elizabeth. Very impressive. All right, we're ready for our fifth and final raffle of the day. And one final thank you to our raffle sponsor, Wiser Consultants. Our final raffle is a $100 Amazon gift card. We've done this a few times now, so you know the drill. Start entering those comments, and remember, we're looking for the name of the gift card plus your first and last name. Keep them coming. Get those comments in. Couple more seconds. All right. I think that's a wrap on our raffles. I'm going to leave you hanging for just a couple more minutes. We'll announce our raffle winners right after a final word from our chapter president, Matt Bullard.
Well, that's a wrap for this year's awards banquet. I want to give a quick thanks to my fellow board members, specifically Ben Coles, Patrick Leap, and Philip Gregory. They did a lot behind the scenes to make this happen and did a great job. Also, thanks a lot to Kasey Anderson for giving that legislative update. And Kasey, we also want to really thank you for all the work you do on the Hill protecting our licensure. Lastly, we want to give another shout out to our sponsors. We really couldn't have done this without you, and we are very appreciative of your financial contribution to TSPE, not just the banquet, but the society as a whole. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next year.
All right, thank you, Matt. Before we wrap, we want to do one last thank you to everyone for joining us today. Congratulations to all of our award winners. A special thank you to Ryan Sweeney, the chairman of our awards committee, and all the work he put in. Also, a special thank you to all of the Gresham Smith staff who's helped set up the virtual content for us today. They've been working tirelessly behind the scenes. A special thank you to Andrew Smith and Amanda Sapala. Thank you to Kasey Anderson, our keynote speaker. We are looking forward to holding our 2022 banquet in person and in our normal February time slots. So please be on the lookout for more details as we have them available. We're already beginning preparations for 2022. So finally, here are the winners of the raffle prizes that everyone's been waiting for. The winner of our $100 Home Depot gift card is Jose Luna. Congratulations. For our first Visa gift card, our winner is Jill Wessel. Congratulations, Jill. For the winner of the Lowe's gift card, we have Leah Malam. Congratulations, Leah. The winner of our second Visa gift card is Ashley Smith. Congratulations, Ashley. And finally, the winner of our $100 Amazon gift card is Mr. Mike Hunkler. Congratulations, Mike. We'll be reaching out to all of you to get your gift card to you, mailed to you. Once again, congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you all again very soon in person.